In the long history of baseball in Miami, this stadium has been known by a lot of names. But after today, it won't be called home by the Marlins. Next year, the Miami Marlins will play in a brand new ballpark with a brand new name. Today is the last day of the Florida Marlins. Come with us as we celebrate the memories and history. Getting away one more day, and then it's getting away to downtown Miami. One more day at Sun Life Stadium. The Marlins and the Washington Nationals finish off the 2011 season, and for the final day, the Marlins are known as the Florida Marlins. After today, the Miami Marlins will head south to a new ballpark. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, joined by Frank Fort. Tommy Hutton is under the weather. The odd thing about this, Frank, is it's called closing day, and I know the Marlins are finishing a chapter here, but it really feels in the ballpark with all this electricity like it's an opening day.
Yeah, Rich, it's not really the end of the season, but the beginning of a new era in Marlins history. And it just feels like it's a big birthday cake. We keep adding one layer on top of the other with all the ex-players, and today the Marlins have a new manager looking forward to 2012.
Yeah, everybody said, hey, after today, it all changes. But you know what? 48 hours ago it changed, Frank, when the White Sox released Ozzie Guillen from his contract. Guillen at 1 o'clock today was introduced as the new manager of the Miami Marlins.
And it all happened very quickly. It all came together. There's been rumors for the last year or two that the Marlins would be interested in Ozzie Guillen if he became available. He finally did when he couldn't come to an agreement with the Chicago White Sox, and he now has a 4-year deal to manage the Miami Marlins.
Got to have a first pitch, and who better than Charlie Huff? There it is. How about that? And Benito Santiago, who caught the first pitch from Huff. If Frank Pulley were here, you would have called that a strike.
That was more of a strike than Charlie's pitch on opening day 19 years ago.
Now, there are moments like this that we will capture throughout the afternoon. As we look at what's taken place over the 19 years, there's so much history, 2 world championships. Here's the schedule and some of the names and faces that you'll see. Now, Steven Strasburg and Chris Volstad will start. In the booth, Ozzie Guillen, Al Leiter, Mike Lowell, and Cliff Floyd will stop by. And we'll have all the closing day festivities as well.
Marlins all-time team will be announced after the game. We'll have lots of interviews with all those players in addition to the booth visits.
All right, here's the other trick we've got for you. Colleen Brennan sang the national anthem in 1993. And guess who's back to sing it to close out the stadium? Here she is, Colleen Brennan.
In 1993 on opening day. Please welcome Colleen Brennan.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there,
years now. That's the best national anthem I've heard in 7 years.
Outstanding. Even 19 years later, she still has it, singing the anthem. Colleen Brennan, great job.
What a great moment. And we've got a day full of those as the Marlins and the Nationals get ready to go. And the Nationals get set to go. A view from the Goodyear blimp high above. And for the final time, Jack McKeon presenting a lineup at home plate. How poignant is that Jack manages the final game in this ballpark? Our Coventry Healthcare of Florida starters. Frank, we got a good matchup here with Steven Strasburg and Chris Bolstad.
And matching up for the second time this month, they went against each other on September 17th. Each allowed 1 run, Bolstad going 7 innings, Strasburg 6. They were not involved in the decision as the Marlins won it 4-1 in 13 innings. Strasburg making his 5th start since returning from Tommy John surgery. Bolstad has been really good in his last 6 outings. He's allowed very few runs, but is 0-2 with 4 no decisions.
First pitch, well, there's Jack taking a curtain call. First pitch coming up. Florida is brought to you by Toyota, moving forward, and by All Year Cooling. Today's comfort yesterday's prices. If you think this is just another day at the office for Jack McKeon, you are wrong. And 80 managing his final game in the big leagues. He got a standing ovation from the crowd here. Even the umpires giving him a standing ovation. So let's do it here. You got the Nationals and the Marlins ready to go. Ian Desmond digging in. A good-sized crowd is here, and you expect with a 4 o'clock start and the post-game ceremonies plan that the crowd number will grow. Desmond, Roger Bernardina, and Jason Worth against Chris Volstad. And he misses down low. Mike Everett calling balls and strikes. And Frank, as you pointed out, Volstad's been very good his last few starts.
He certainly has, Rich. Over his last 4, he does not have a decision, although he's allowed just 6 runs in 25 innings over his last 4 starts.
Misses up with that fastball. Desmond, the young shortstop for the Nationals, finishing off a solid year. He is starting to turn the corner defensively, which has always been the biggest question about Desmond. That one apparently dove in, and it's 3-0. It's not Frank Pulley behind home plate, apparently. That was, in fact, he's thrown 2 pitches that have been in the strike zone, and that one is. And the count is 3-1. It's certainly an honor for Volstad, a Palm Beach native and a guy that grew up coming to games here to pitch the final game in this ballpark, or stadium, I guess we should call it. And Volstad comes back and gets a couple strikes.
Volstad's had very similar numbers, not in terms of wins and losses, but in terms of performance, as he misses ball 4. Remember, last year he came back from the minors. He had a lot of wins. The numbers weren't particularly great. This year, he's pitching better in terms of allowing fewer runs, but doesn't have the decisions. I think it's an interesting offseason coming up for Chris Volstad.
Here's the Nationals lineup. The Nationals, with the loss last night, cannot have a winning season. It's brought to you by Warren Henry. You've seen Desmond. Here's Roger Bernardina. Jason Worth in right. Chris Marrero, the Hialeah kid, in first. Danny Espinosa at second. Rick Ankiel's in center field. Pudge getting the start. Steve Lombardozzi hits 8th, and Steven Strasburg in the 9 spot. And here is Bernardina. Bernardina getting the start in left field. Ryan Zimmerman missing the final 2 games of the season. So it's Bernardina, then Worth. There's a bunt. Hayes in front of the plate makes a nice play to get the out at second. Brett Hayes getting the start in place of John Buck today. And he quickly made a very nice play. Frank?
Here's the defense today for the Marlins, brought to you by Warren Henry Automobiles. Lomo in left, Peterson in center, Stanton in right, Dobbs, Bonifacio, the newly signed Omar Infante at second, Gabby at first, Brett Hayes behind the plate, and Chris Volstad on the mound.
Speaking of defense, here's a look at Brett Hayes. He's proved this year that he is a very good catcher, a very good backup catcher, as he has manned that position throughout the season. He's chipped in offensively and has been very solid defensively when asked to spell John Buck.
Buck's caught 1,144 innings this season, so Jack giving him the final day off.
Yeah, Buck well above his career high in terms of games caught. Here's Worth now, and he takes a strike. You see Worth, 150th game, of course, an enormous contract for Worth, and he has admitted at times he's probably pressed, trying to live up to that. But he's the anchor of what is a young and growing team, a team with a lot of talent, with Bryce Harper on the way, Michael Morse having a breakout season.
Michael Morse, by the way, given the day off, hitting .303, the young man from Nova High School in Davie. Davie Johnson giving him the last game of the season off, and Morse will finish over 300.
Here's the 0-1. Worth fouls it back, and it's out of play. So the Nationals have a lot to like about this season. They came close to a winning season. They needed to sweep the Marlins here to get to 81 and 80. As it is, they're at 79 and 81 after the Brian Peterson walk-off shot last night. Davey Johnson's status next year is a question mark. Got him. Volstad, good live fastball, and Worth goes down.
Good pitch by Volstad on the outer part of the plate. Good movement back over the outer edge, and Worth couldn't catch up to him.
So Volstagg gets a strikeout, and now Chris Marrero, who's hitting cleanup today for the Nationals, digs in. Bernardina chased back. Marrero hitless last night, had a base hit on Monday night.
Rich, I think you're right. This is a team that's been trending upward. And when you look at the Strasburgs, the Bryce Harpers, and who knows when he'll be ready for the big leagues, but the guys already here, the Ryan Zimmermans, the Desmonds, the Espinosas, even to an extent Bernardina. Wilson Ramos has had a really good month of September. So this is a team that is trending up and more young talent on the way.
I'll tell you, the real key, I think, for the Nationals this year was the year that Morse had, because Worth did not really produce like they had hoped, but Morse more than made up for it with a monster season.
No doubt about it. And Michael Morse is a guy who, you know, he's been in the big leagues a little bit. He was with Seattle, but really just blossomed this year. And as you said, made up for what Worth didn't give them.
Now, he had a couple home runs in this series, 31 on the season. Chopper charging Bonifacio, quick flip in time. Nice inning by Chris Volstagg. Marlins coming to bat on closing day.
Coventry Healthcare de Florida.
Thumbs up. Here come the fish. The Marlins looking for win number 73, and Emilio Bonifacio is looking for 300. He's hitting 298. Omar Infante's at second base. Greg Dobbs at third. Mike Stanton in the cleanup spot. He's looking for home run number 35. Lomo's right behind him. Gabby Sanchez at first base. Ryan Peterson in center field. Brett Hayes hits eighth, and Volstagg will hit ninth. And rock star, young phenom Steven Strasburg is on the mound.
4 starts this season, 0-1, but look at the ERA at 2. His worst outing was his last against the Braves when he went 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, only 2 earned, has the great fastball, a good curveball, and an outstanding changeup as well.
And with all those pitches, he has impeccable command. He hasn't walked anybody in his 4 starts. So here's Bonifacio, who's on a 9-game hit streak. There's the heater at 95. And Bonifacio has brought himself to the brink of 300. 298, barely 298. He is 16 for his last 37. And he needs a couple of hits at least to get to 300 in this one. And it won't be easy facing Strasburg.
Now, and down 0-2 in this at bat. We crunched the numbers with the help of our statistician, Steve LeBeau. 2 for 4 won't do it for Bonifacio. If he goes 2 for 2, 2 for 3, or 3 for 5, he'll get to 300.
Fastball up. Strasburg dials up 97. The Nationals, of course, coming off Tommy John surgery, have been cautious with Strasburg. Davey Johnson doesn't like to say, I've got a pitch count for him. They're hoping to get 5-6 innings, as long as he doesn't have a 38-pitch first inning like he did against Atlanta his last time out. He took the loss against the Braves.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on Steven Strasburg. Upper 90s heat, plenty of command, as Rich pointed out, plus off-speed stuff. Got the good curveball. Some scouts call it a slider. He calls it a curve, and he's got the good changeup as well. Our scouting report brought to you by Coventry Healthcare.
1-2 to Bonifacio. Fastball out. You can see Pudge trying to frame that pitch. This might be the final game behind the plate for one of the greatest catchers to ever play the game, if not the greatest catcher to ever play the game.
And appropriate that he gets the start today, being that he was a big part of that Marlins 2003 World Championship team.
Down goes Bonifacio, swinging and missing at a sharp breaking ball from Strasburg. Defensively, here's how the Nationals line up.
And for the Nats today, Bernardina, Ankiel, and Worth in the outfield. Steve Lombardozzi at third, Ian Desmond, Danny Espinosa in the middle, the Miami native Chris Marrero at first, Pudge behind the plate, and Steven Strasburg on the mound. The Nationals defense brought to you by Warren Henry Automobiles.
Omar Infante now digs in. Infante fouls it back. Omar Infante saying today that one of the reasons he signed a 2-year contract extension was that Ozzie Guillen was coming here to manage. Both Venezuelan. Infante very excited to play for Guillen, and that, he said, got him over the top as he fouls that one off his foot. And he's behind the count 0-2. Goodyear is giving us terrific pitchers all over South Florida. 87 degrees, all year cooling has been with us all season long. We thank them for their support on moving day.
And a gorgeous day in South Florida.
And the Goodyear blimp high above us. Great to have them aboard for this big day as well. They'll just have to head about 8 to 10 miles south for opening day on April 4th against the Cardinals next year. 0-2 pitch. Infante hits it in the left field. Bernardina comes on, and he makes a running, sliding catch in left field. And Infante is out number 2, albeit in spectacular fashion.
Hey, caught it off the end of the bat. Maybe fooled Bernardina a little bit. The kind of ball that can fool you, but Bernardina with outstanding speed and is an excellent defensive outfielder makes the sliding catch. And we look at it in Fox Exmo.
Here's Dobbs now. Greg getting the start, and what a terrific year it has been for Greg Dobbs, a guy that made the club in spring training, was thought to be a nice piece, a left-handed bat off the bench, and with the issues the Marlins had at third base, he ended up getting a lot more playing time than I think anybody expected. And Frankie answered the call. He has played well defensively, and offensively has had a very solid season.
Yeah, he's been one of the 2 best stories on the Marlins this year, along with Bonifacio. Came here with a reputation as a terrific pinch hitter, which he was when he was in the Philadelphia organization. But that approach that he takes to pinch hitting, the preparation, the mental preparation, the physical preparation, I think has served him well as he's gotten more and more of the 4 at-bats per day and starting at third base.
The irony is he has only 27 at-bats as a pinch hitter, and he's 10 for 27, so a 370 average as a pinch hitter. He's the active leader in pinch hit RBIs right now in baseball.
A real pro. Great approach to the game, comes to the ballpark every day, ready.
I think he has proved something to the rest of baseball in that he still has life in that bat, and that is a swing. Dobbs unable to check it on that low fastball because he did not have a great year last year in Philadelphia. That's close.
Been called a strike most of the year.
So it's 2-2. Strasburg at 13 pitches. Volstad threw only 13 in his first inning. We will have a cavalcade of stars joining us in all locations, but coming up in the second inning, the Miami Marlins' new manager, Ozzie Guillen.
He put on quite a show in the press conference today, the introductory press conference.
Here's a
entertaining, outspoken.
3-2. Strasburg throws a 97-mile-an-hour fastball by Greg Dobbs. Look at that. Beautiful. Ozzie Guillen when we get back. The Goodyear Blimp brought to you in high definition from H. Gray. And Ozzie Guillen is brought to you in high definition by H. Gray. And that's important because he's got such a great shirt on. And he joins us now, the manager of the Miami Marlins. It has a nice ring to it, Ozzie.
Well, I think it's very colorful. I think I'm very, very excited to be here. Very happy. Everything so far been great. Meet with a couple players and a couple coaches. I was with Tony Perez for a little while, Andrew Dobson. You know, it's good game, great memories, and we go about the club a little bit to see, give me some ideas what we should do, what we not, and great baseball people, unbelievable baseball people. You know, they know what they're doing. They've been here long enough to talk about the boys.
Yeah, and this isn't, look, for you, this isn't walking into a new situation. Obviously, you've been with the organization. You know the ownership. You know the front office, all the way down from the trainers to the strength and conditioning coaches, all of those people.
Well, it's easy for you when you make a transaction like that, when you make a decision like this, to come to any place and work. I think it's easy. I work in the parking lot. It's the same people. You know, he's awesome.
Look at that.
What was that guy?
That's like 40 pounds ago.
Now, is it true you had never coached third base before you had coached third base?
No, never did. But that was my, I don't want to say my dream, but that was my goal. I think it's nothing more exciting than coach third base. You know, you're the manager, you sit there and hopefully the guy's playing good. But when you're a coach, you can make decisions right away. And I enjoy to have a great ball club to be a third base coach. Those guys make it easy for me.
Ozzie, I know you went down to the new ballpark as part of this process. And you guys spend as much time, if not more, at the ballpark than you do at home during the season. What kind of a selling point was the new ballpark, and why does that excite you?
Well, I'm not. You know, I know what's a recruiter about a college team, but I think it's nice. I think it's very nice to have a new face of the ball club. Finally, this franchise have a new home. You know what I mean? I remember criticizing the franchise because we come here, you don't feel like you're a Marlin. You know, you feel different. And that was hard. When in the playoff, we went to Cubs, we went to San Francisco, Cubs in New York. And everybody have colors of the team, and coming here is like kind of different situation. But I'm very excited. And be honest with you, and it's nice to have a nice ballpark. But I'd rather the people go there and watch Marlins good baseball games.
One of the things, you were here in 2003 when this place was full. The Marlins get a lot of publicity negatively because they don't get a lot of crowds. But you've seen what this town can be like when the Marlins are winning. It can be a good baseball town.
That's our goal. That's my goal. That's my goal, to come here and bring baseball back in the city. I think they might not come, but they listen and they watch. I know that because I grew up. I'm here. My family's here. We spend a lot of time in Miami. But in the meanwhile, I think you had to put a winning team. I'm not talking about names. I'm not talking about people, free agent people just make people happy. I talk about a good players to want to come here every day and play hard and play good. I said today early, I'd rather people come back to the next inning than anything else.
This is a great moment here. Ivan Rodriguez, a standing ovation. He played here only 1 year, Ozzie, but what a year it was.
Wow. I tell you what, this kid's carried the ball club for a little while. You know, he come out of Texas with the reputation about a lot of if. They don't know how about the catching thing, you know. There's so many things behind it. He threw that thing behind and put this ball club behind his back and carry us to the World Series. And like I said, you're not winning without pitching. It's a bit hard to win without pitching. And that combined with a good catcher.
Pudge drives it into right center field. Stanton is after it, reaches up and makes the catch. When we get back, we get a chance to see that man swing the bat, and that's always fun. Mike Stanton coming to the plate. Scoreless. Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. What a great shot. The new ballpark, you see the roof pieces. It's half open right now. The ballpark almost 82% complete. Opening day, April 4th, 2012. The man sitting between Frank and I will be managing the ball club. That's got to be a real thrill for you. It's 8 years in Chicago. A lot of success, a world championship, another postseason as well, but really a fresh start and a new start for the team and for you.
Well, I think it's been great. I think a big part of that is outstanding. I think the effort they put here to get the new ballpark now finally come through is going to be outstanding. And like I said, be part of that and the winning thing. Hopefully we bring a winning season, winning attitude, try to change the, I changed my page already. I closed my chapter already with Chicago. I hope we are closing the chapter here in this and start a new one.
Now, this is a matchup you're going to see for a long time in the National League East. Mike Stanton, who is 21, Steven Strasburg, who is 23.
I take mine. I only see this kid's highlights. It's unbelievable how strong and how good a player can be. Still learning about the game, but the older the kid, the more experience he got to be better. And I just talked to a couple of my kids and said, it's not how long, it's how many. I hope he allowed many home runs for us.
34 this year.
Ozzie, I think one of the interesting things you said during your introductory press conference was that you're in the big leagues for a reason, and I'm thinking of some of the young players. But it's what you do when you get there. Some people are satisfied just being there. You want to take them to that next level.
I always blame coaches and managers for that because I think players do what you let them to do, and I think having a very, very young talent is easy to mold the guys how to play the game. It's easy to mold how teaching, easy to mold, how to criticize them in the right way. And hopefully, not hopefully, that's what we're going to do. That's my coaching staff being told, and they will make it. I don't know how many games, how many win, how many losses. Just one thing I got to guarantee: they got to play the game right. They got to play the way you should be playing, and keep them hungry every day.
Now Stanton walks, and he's at first. Coming up now is Logan Morrison. Here's a guy that I think you're really going to like. I mean, if you like guys that play hard for you every day, will run through a wall for you every day, Lomo's your guy.
Well, I see a lot of nice thing about it, especially on the phone. But I think this kid had a great report on him. I think a lot of people like him here. I think this kid, we got to give him the facilities to go out and perform and don't worry about anything now. I will take all the crap out of the team, make sure those guys go and play and enjoy the game. But I love good athletes. I like people going to come to enthusiasm, enjoy this game. And it's one thing about this kid that not many kids got him. Not too many kids do that. He have fun when he's playing, and that's what we're missing in this game right now.
Ozzie, when you took over in Chicago, your first time managing in the big leagues, and we've seen your style, and some people have different views of your style. How did your style develop as a manager, and how would you describe your style as a manager?
I don't know. I think you're managing depending what the ball club you have. I mean, that's that you will dictate about that. I like a lot of people say National League style. I love fundamentals. I love run. I love to run. I love hit run. I love bunt. Like the fun part of the game. To me, it's the main thing for me. Is just fundamental, play good defense and pitch well. The offense will come up.
Nice play there by Marrero, and the turn by Desmond is in time. And Strasburg gets a double play ball. There are 2 outs here in the second inning.
One of the other things is that Omar, as we take another look at the double play and nicely turned by the Nationals, Ozzie, your fellow Venezuelan Omar Infante has re-signed for 2 years, and he's kind of a manager's dream because you pencil his name in the lineup and you never have to worry about him. You got to love those type of guys as a manager.
That's the type of people you need to put a glue in a good ball club. I know him when he was in Detroit. I managed against him. I know what he can do. I always say I think Detroit give up on him too quick, but he's come to put himself in a great position, and we just still talking about the number. He went number 13, and it's a little discussion this morning about what number he going to wear or I going to wear.
There's going to be a little tug of war there, huh?
He said today. He said one of the reasons he signed for 2 more years is because you were coming here. He wanted to play for you.
Well, I love to manage, and I think sometimes I told the players I want to play for you. Be careful what you wish. It's funny. It's fun. And then I think that the players it's ugly me saying that, but you ask the players I have through the years, and they enjoy the game, they have fun, and they play the game right. When they don't, then they're going to hear from me.
Brian Peterson, who ended the night last night with a walk-off homer, his second home run in the big leagues, has had a solid rookie season. And Strasburg misses high with a fastball. You really haven't had a whole lot of time to look at the Marlins. I'm sure you've been busy managing the White Sox. So how much will you watch from this year? Will you just go in with a clean slate into spring training on guys?
I let the guys enjoy the off season. Make sure they show up in spring training, ready to play in spring training, not getting shaded for the season. It's going to be a process. It's not going to be a long process. When you can play, you can play. And it's all, whoever can pitch, can pitch. I'm not the type of manager to go out there and spend all winter with the video in my room watching players. I had a lot of confidence in the front office here, and I know what they can do. They've been doing it for a long time. They put a lot of great teams together. It's kind of, and we see what we can do, and I think spring training you got to dictate me. Because it's funny, I walk around the club today and I was so confused. I got looking at people's name, and all of a sudden, those guys look like my kids. You know what I mean? When you come with the veteran team for the last 4 years, 5 years, Sunday game or early day games, you can see kids around, running around, play with their daddy. Now here, it's just a different way. But I think that's a great way, and that's a way, unbelievable way to start. And I'm looking forward.
What about Leiter's a strike? It's 3-1.
A guy you do know is, if only by reputation, Hanley Ramirez. And, of course, he wasn't having a great year this year. He was hurt. But I know you're looking forward to getting with him and trying to get him back to where he was because you believe in his talent.
Oh, he will be back. I think Hanley is one, maybe, if not the biggest, bigger piece in this puzzle. I gotta let the only thing is my goal is hopefully I can see Hanley smile, play hard, enjoy this game. But you have to know, you should know he's a guy we're looking up to. Even me as a manager, I look up to him to guide the team the way they should be guided, play the game the way it should be playing. And I think, sometimes, man, people blame players for that. But, sometimes you have to blame yourself. Coaching staff, let the players do what they want. Maybe their teammate got something to do with all this. The soon one guy don't respect each other, then everything is gone. I think you go by your business the right way, you respect each other. I don't expect anything less than that. And I think Hanley be fine. I can wait to manage that kind of talent. I saw him play against me; he was outstanding, and I think this kid can have a great future. And I'm not going to say it's all depend about him where we're going to get, but you got to take a big role. And I have a lot of confidence he will do it.
Is this your first look at Steven Strasburg? Did you see him in interleague play at all?
I pitched against us a few months before he got hurt. He threw a tremendous game. We played against him in Washington. And, expectation was very high, and he keeps the expectation there. But he backed it up. I think this kid got a great future.
There's a 1-1. Brett Hayes pops it up in the sun. Ian Desmond makes the catch, and the Marlins will strand a couple. Ozzie, welcome.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
The new skipper of the Miami Marlins, Ozzie Guillen.
Thank you, guys.
Look, there you go. They still love you here. Let's check in with Allison Williams.
Hey, Rich. I am here with Benito Santiago, who is behind the home plate again today, catching Charlie Huff's ceremonial first pitch. What was that like for the two of you to be out there doing that again?
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. All the time I have to do something for the Marlins and this city. I feel extremely happy, and I don't know how to describe it, but it's all good.
Does it bring back a lot of memories being back here and seeing some of your former teammates?
Yeah, especially there have been so many years, I know we started in '93, and look today, it sounds like yesterday, and we're in the last game of the stadium over here. So, at least we made history the first day and the last day. But, yeah, they've been long time, and I'm glad and happy to see a couple of players over here that I didn't see for a long time. So it's so good. So I enjoy it.
It has to be neat to be part of that '93 club, because you have the opportunity to be the first in so many ways, catch the first game, hit the first home run in Marlins history. That's something unique that no one can ever take away.
Right, you know what, it's something I told my kids today, I said, you see what I did, well, that's never going to go away from the paper, so that means, how good you guys can be. But, it was great, especially all the time I have to get together with Charlie all the time because he threw the first pitch, and I enjoy, he's a great man, and I'm happy, just happy all the way to be around these guys.
Were either one of those pitches really strikes?
Huh?
Were either one of those pitches really strikes?
Hey,
Either first?
He's the first, yeah, you got that right.
All right, Benito, thank you so much. Rich, we'll go back to you. Let Benito enjoy his time out here in the Hall of Champions. Lots of familiar faces here.
All right, Allison, thanks. Gabby Sanchez had it, kicked it, and then picked it up and got the out. So there's an out here. Strasburg comes to the plate. Strasburg to be followed by Ian Desmond. Chris Volstad into his third inning of work. He has a couple of strikeouts and a walk so far.
Benny hit the first home run in this stadium April 20th of '93. So always good to see him. He's been around the ball club and still looks in great shape. By the way, Charlie Huff and Benito Santiago now have had 3 first pitches. The first pitch in the opening game back in 1993. The first pitch at the groundbreaking for the new ballpark 2 years ago. And the first pitch today, the ceremonial first pitch, here in the final game at Sun Life Stadium.
Chopper over the mound. Bonifacio avoids Infante and makes a nice running play. There are 2 outs here in the third. Volstad looks sharp so far. Have you visited the new Marlins ballpark sales headquarters right next to the new ballpark? The luxurious new facility gives you the opportunity to explore not only a ballpark suite, but a 3D view from any seat in the ballpark. So if you're thinking about sitting up on the home run porch or out by the pool in left field, you can see what the field will look like from that seat. 1-877-411-2012 is the number to call, or you can go to marlins.com/new ballpark.
Hope you've had a chance to watch the Inside the Marlins, our final episode of the season on the new ballpark. Spent a lot of time this year down there with Claude Delorme, the Vice President of Ballpark Development, who's done a fantastic job. And the latest thing we gave you a look at was the design of the aquariums that will be adjacent to the on-deck circles on both the first and third base sides.
I'm interested to see what the home run feature looks like out in that, what looks like a tank out in left center field.
Part of it will be a permanent structure. So not all of it will be like the apple in New York rising up from out of sight. Part of it will be permanent, about 61 feet high. And then they'll have some other accents that will engage or come on as the Marlins hit a home run or at the end of the victory.
There's the 0-2 to Desmond. Fastball, ground ball, charging is Dobbs. Got to hurry. And once he had a little bobble, Desmond is across. And Dobbs is going to get charged with an error on that, an E5.
He knows he has to hurry and just never quite got a grip on it until it was too late.
So here's Bernardina, the number 2 hitter for the Nationals in this ball game. 4 o'clock start. The post-game festivities on the field. The Marlins all-time team will be named. Still a question as to who gets to tear down the final number in the 5th inning. Charlie Huff and Benito Santiago may throw another first pitch. You never know in the new ballpark who's going to throw out the first pitch.
You know, I was just thinking about that. Who does throw out the first pitch in the new ballpark? By the way, the first 10 hitters, Volstad's gotten 5 ground balls, so that's a good sign.
And Chris with a fastball that's fouled back. The question for Volstad is, can he bottle what he's been able to do in both second halves, second half of last year, second half of this year, and put in a full season worth of that?
Now, that's been the question with Chris, has been the consistency over the course of a 162 game schedule.
Volstad steps off and Desmond retreats. Nationals stole 5 bases in the first game of the series. That was the Mike Morse home run off of Edward Mojica game. That with 2 outs in the 9th and the Marlins up 1. In the air to center, Peterson battling the sun, sees it and makes the play. Marlins coming up, bottom of the 3rd on closing day 2011. Al Leiter when we return. Now that should be fun.
on the ground. Graybeck almost lost it. Whoa, good job. Bates pops it up. Leiter wants it. He's got it. They're on their feet again. Comes home. Struck him out. The Marlins have their first no-hitter in history. Al Leiter has done it.
The voice of the senator, Jay Randolph, there.
How about that, huh?
Is.
Jay Randolph. You know how jerky that was? I just saw CJ. I said, God, it was the most uncomfortable thing for me. After the no-hitter, we're up 11-0, and it was just a matter of whether I was going to get the no-hitter, and it was really odd for me. After that, I was like, well, what do I do? Does he jump on me? Do I jump on him? God, it was awful.
Because you never really plan those things.
No,
you don't
not at all.
About that stuff.
No, and I think after, I had so many friends, like, it looked like nothing. Like he threw, a complete game, 2 or 3 runs.
Would you have been more excited had it been a 1-0 or a 2-0 game?
Let me tell you, Frank, if I ever threw a no-hitter, I would have acted like a complete nut job. I would have done something like this. Seriously, really? Hey, how you doing? All right, let me give you a little hug. And then Greg Colbert, he was this kid with me a little while ago saying, you give CJ, I got him a watch, nice watch, and they got like some cards or something, and I felt bad. How about Strasburg, guys?
He's fun to watch. I mean, you've probably seen him a few times. Now that you are a big TV celebrity.
No, don't you go there. No.
MLB Network. Very nice work. You made a good transition.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
And you've done very well. And we like your work.
Thank you.
We'd love to see you in studio. We'd love to see you doing games as well.
You know, it's fun, and I was appreciative of the Yes Network. I was doing the 3 games over at Tampa. How exciting is that?
Yeah.
Wild card.
Unbelievable.
It's going to go down. We could have 2
one-game playoffs.
Oh, is that going to be great for baseball? All the Bob Costas out there who didn't like the idea. This is wonderful.
Now, wait a minute. You get to work with Bob.
No, I like Bob. I mean, we talk about it, and, he's just a purist.
Is he still not into the wild card?
1951, when there was 16 teams, look, there's 30 teams out there. Right. You got to let more fan bases and cities
I'm with you.
Get in on it.
Hey, the Marlins are a great example of that.
That's right. That year, never forget.
You know, I covered you, of course, when you were with the Marlins, and I was working with one of the local stations, and I always knew that you would go into this. Did you always know, too?
No, but I would thank you. And I would say this. I think a couple things, and it's good and bad. I was brutally honest. I showed my emotions on my sleeve, and I wasn't afraid to admit my wrongdoing, and I wasn't afraid to be honest. And I think players that realize after, like, it's okay to be normal.
Yep.
Like you're not trying to be Tom Brokaw or a professional.
Right.
Just be yourself. And I don't know. And I think it's a great transition. And obviously, you guys know with the so many different outlets and internet and all the different places now, MLB Network and places like that players have a place to land. And I think they get it now. I think players, I don't know how they are with you guys, but it seems to be that they're a little more receptive to media.
Well, there's a whole new generation,
yeah.
especially when you have a young team like the Marlins, the Logan Morrisons, the Mike Stans, guys that understand social media. They understand. I mean, they sit around in the clubhouse, and what used to be, in the clubhouse, guys would sit around and watch old movies.
Bugs Bunny?
Yeah. Maybe in your era. But now, guys like Stanton and Morrison, I walked into the clubhouse today, and everyone said, hey, great job on the press conference. All the Marlin players were sitting around the TV watching the Ozzie Guillen press conference.
Well, how exciting is that, guys?
Yeah. Now, the Marlins, as Bonifacio strikes out, the people who aren't around Ozzie, on a day-to-day basis, they see, these tirades once in a while. They see him on Twitter. They see him on his webpage. The Marlins know him from a managerial standpoint. They know what they're getting into, don't they?
They better. Watching David Sampson, Jeffrey Loria. Hello, boys. This guy's going to bring a lot of energy. He's going to have a team that's going to play the game right. They're going to come out and execute, have some sort of enthusiasm behind what they're doing. I got on Ozzie a few times, and I pitched against him. But I remember a game here, guys. I was with the Mets. He was third base coach. Edgardo Alfonso was playing third, and Ray Ordonez was at short.
That was the great infield, right?
We had a great infield.
Olerud at first. And
you know what? I think Robin Ventura was there. This was the year before Robin got there.
02, 03?
No, I think it was 98 or 99. Yeah, because then Alfonso went to second and Ventura played third.
Okay.
And Ozzie's going on and on in Spanish.
Oh, that's all right. Go ahead.
All right. We got a couple outs. The game got in the way.
We got another half inning, though. Stick around. Strasburg looks good. Volstad looks good. That's why there's no score. Golf Classic on February 16th, presented by Jiffy Lube and Mercedes-Benz of Fort Lauderdale at the Miccosukee Golf and Country Club. Marlins players, coaches, and other celebrities will be there. Exciting day of golf. It's all for a great charity, the Marlins Community Foundation. 305-623-6497. Former Marlin lefty Al Leiter is with us. Rich Waltz along with Frank Fort. We've been talking about the memories as a Marlin. We saw your no-hitter. What are the other memories that you have other than that no-hitter?
Well, definitely the Game 7 start in '93 World Series, beat the Indians. I think there's moments for every player when you dream in the backyard and you think about the what-ifs. And, boy, it would be great to be in a World Series. And I was lucky enough to have been part of a great organization, Toronto, before Dave Dombrowski brought me down and signed me to a 3-year deal, and then the no-hitter in '96 and then '97. And you dream of a Game 7 World Series. I mean, the epic, winner's the champ and the loser goes home crying.
I was thinking about that. Everybody remembers the no-hitter. Unless you're a hardcore Marlins fan, you forget Al Leiter started Game 7 of the '97 World Series and held Cleveland to 2 runs in 6 innings.
Well, how about Jim Leyland?
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you guys, early in the year, I had a good year the year before. We were all excited as an organization when Jim came here.
Right.
Jim Leyland, the fiery manager, Pittsburgh, and at Candlestick against San Francisco, Bobby Bonilla at third. I tried to catch a foul ball. Why, I don't know. And I slipped in the rain, and I got a microfracture on my knee. So my knee was a mess all year. I didn't have a consistent year. So the line from Jim was, after Kevin Brown pitched a heck of a game, Chad O.J. ended up getting the game-winning RBI in Game 6. And the quote was, internally, well, who are you going to start for Game 7? Jim. Who else am I got to pitch Leiter. It was out of default. Because in Game 3, I was awful. Yeah. And that was the game with Charlie Johnson, Larry Rothschild, nice slider there. Boy, if Chris Volstad could get a good plane, get down in the zone. I love this kid.
Yeah, if he could stay consistent.
Just get down, finish. Watch here. You get out of there. This is a nice slider. Yeah. Finish that pitch right there. Get through it.
CJ said last night, and we had CJ on last night, he said that the crowd in '97 in that World Series was the loudest, and he never felt anything like that because you don't see baseball crowds of 70,000 people.
Awesome. I mean, obviously, the crowds here not nearly as good as it was once upon a time, but they peeled off the tarps, guys. In the division series, I remember they didn't sell out. And then we ended up having to play the Braves, and they started peeling off those tarps in center field. And by the time the World Series, all of those seats sold, and so excited. But I remember the game. I'm going to say this. I look back at the League Series against the Yankees. It was the Indians. And I looked at Andy Pettit's tape, and I looked at David Wells' tape. And I was awful command-wise because I threw a ton of pitches. Another good slider.
There you go.
I love it. Finish it. So
you can tell he's a pitcher.
Yeah. It's part of my problem when I do the games for the Yankees. I get too into the pitcher-catcher thing, although it's most of the game. Look at that late break right there. So I realized I didn't throw enough curveballs, and I told Charlie Johnson on my side day lead into Game 7. I said, Charlie, I got to throw curveballs. So I told Leiter Rothschild, first pitch of the game is going to be a curveball. And he looks at me like, you're an idiot. And I said, well, yeah, I'm an idiot, but I got to throw it. So I'm bouncing him down the line here at Pro Player, or what is it now?
Who knows?
Sun Life. But it was back then.
Okay, Pro
It's in the rearview mirror.
And then I get and I'm missing every time. Bouncing it high, all over the place. And sure enough, first pitch curveball. Omar Vizquel, boop, curveball, bam, strike one. Eddie Montague behind the plate. I said, this is going to be a good one. And it turned out to be pretty good.
By the way, one of the great trivia questions is that Game 7, who was the winning pitcher? 97 World Series.
Jay Powell.
Jay Powell. And a lot of people
Jay
don't
Powell's
know.
up there with his...
By the way,
wife.
before you get out of here,
Yes.
Ozzie Guillen against Al Leiter, 1 for 9 with 1 strikeout.
That's why Ozzie. So I didn't even finish the story. This is my problem. He's going on in Spanish to Edgardo Alfonso and Ray Ordonez. I don't speak Spanish, so I'll just do the, you know. And I step off the mound, and I turn to Ozzie and said, Ozzie, shut up. And he's like, what? He's standing over here. I said, my guys are not paying attention because you're talking to him. I'm telling you, I'm winding up in between the pitch, and he's talking to him in Spanish. Funny. I mean, you know, that's Ozzie. He's going to be great for this organization.
He
really is.
He is a bundle of energy, that's for sure. And an old school. I mean, he's cut from the same cloth as a Leland or a Jack McKeon. He's one of the few old school managers in the game today.
I agree. And if there's one thing, there are going to be players on this Marlins teams next year or the years to come that are going to be upset with him. And sometimes the truth hurts. And he will tell them. He will tell them before he tells the press, if ever. He doesn't throw guys under the bus, but he will tell you eye to eye in his office how he feels. And you know that ahead of time. Just like Mr. Loria knows ahead of time, and everybody in this front office knows what they're getting.
When you peel away the layers of the personality, at the core, there's a great baseball guy.
Absolutely. The energy and all that is fine, except in addition to that, he knows how to play baseball. This guy's been around a long time. He was a good baseball player. He knows the game, fundamentally sound. As you say, old school, no question about it. I just going to be great for the Marlins and the new stadium. I'm excited. I no longer live in the area, but I think it's going to be great. Hopefully the fans will support it more than just 1 year.
Bolstad misses inside, and that fastball trying to come back on the corner. And he's run the count 3-2 to Danny Espinosa. It's a scoreless ball game, the top of the 4th, the final baseball game here at Sun Life Stadium. The Marlins headed south to their new ballpark. Change up. Missed down low. So Espinosa draws a walk. Here comes Rick Ankiel.
He's got a no-no. Maybe he's thinking that.
When did you start thinking that?
I'll tell you. We people watching media after the 5th inning. Oh, he's got a no-no. I always thought the 7th inning was the biggest inning. If you don't have any walks, it's a perfect game. You're going to face 1, 2, 3. If you have a walk, you're going to face 2, 3, 4. You have 2 walks, you're going to face 3, 4, 5. Usually the meat of the order. You get through the 7th inning, legitimate, absolutely, a shot at throwing a no-hitter.
55 pitches for Chris Volstad here so far. Rick Ankiel at the plate as the shadows have crept across the plate. That's a real feeling that the postseason is upon us when you start seeing the shadows creep across the plate in day baseball.
Tough to hit right now. See the ball in the sun, and then all of a sudden the last 10, 12 feet, that shadow line.
And as you noted, there could be 2 one-game play-in games. They're not postseason games technically. If it's a play-in game to get to the postseason, could be 2 of them tomorrow.
You mentioned about my career and opportunities and moments. 163rd game against the Mets in '99 was pretty good.
Ian Fonte throws him out. You got a half inning left in you?
If you let me stay.
All right. Everything Goodyear has learned, making tires that go the distance, inspires what they roll into yours. Closing day 2011, closing day for this old stadium. Scoreless ball game, bottom of the fourth. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, Rich, thank you. You were just talking about the winning pitcher in Game 7 of that 97 World Series. I wonder how many times, well, you go visit a school and you say that, and they go, really? That's one of those facts that's forgotten, Jay Powell.
That's right. You know, it's something that really that night I didn't realize it till somebody from ESPN asked me about it. But, you know, I was fortunate to just kind of be the last guy on the mound.
Wait, you didn't realize? You mean you win the game?
I guess I realized it, but it didn't really set in until somebody asked me about it. But it is. I mean, you think about how many Game 7s there's been really in the history of the World Series, and then to be one of the guys that won it, it's pretty special.
That should get you on the speaking engagements, huh?
You would think, but not too many.
Jay, you joined the Marlins in '95. You were around a little bit through '98. The downside, too. When you think back, you get a chance to reminisce with all these guys, your thoughts on those years?
I mean, it was great. I loved it. You know, for me, I had a lot of great memories here. I was a rookie, so, you know, I had some great older guys that kind of took me under their wing. You know, then, of course, being in the World Series and winning it and the playoffs, and only my second year in the league. And my first son was born down here. I mean, we just had a lot of great memories about South Florida and with the Marlins organization.
It's hard to believe everybody's retired, isn't it?
It is, you know, and I've got more gray hair than any of the other players, and I'm younger than some of them. But, yeah, you know, when I start looking now, like watching the Nationals and Marlins, I don't look at the players anymore. I look at who the coaches are, because that's, you know, most of these guys have retired. So, but it's neat. It's neat to see them all again, because, you know, we just reminisce and, you know, talk about, I guess, the good old days.
Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Jay Powell, guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Rich Waltz, Frank Fort, Al Leiter. Al, who have you seen in this short time here that really has blown your mind, guy that you hadn't seen in a while?
Well, the great Marlin player, Mike Piazza, is up there.
He's there for 5 days.
I saw Mike come in. I was like, wait a minute. You played for the Dodgers and the Mets. You know what? Jay Powell, he was great that year. He's downplaying. Unbelievable sinker. Pounded the zone, threw a lot of strikes, great slider, integral part of that bullpen leading up to Robbie Nen.
Yeah, well, we had Nen on the show earlier. Here's Mike Stanton now. Now, I'll bet when you guys are in your fan cave or the MLB network cave watching games, whenever Stanton comes up, you guys flip on over?
Star, superstar, great guy, all-around, complete player that you look for. Looks like, I don't know, you guys are here day to day. I don't know him well at all. That's a couple of hellos. He looks like a solid head on his shoulders as well.
Absolutely. Yeah,
good. I mean, that's what I look at, guys, is that you can see the tools, but you just hope he's not a knucklehead.
Not a knucklehead.
No, I know he's not, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. The guy out there that boy, oh boy, that's why I think Ozzie coming in here with some of these younger players that for whatever reason, for financial reasons, you can't get that established veteran. There's your veteran player. Nasty curveball.
How much have you seen Strasburg throw?
You know what, Rich? You know he has Hall of Fame stuff out of college and through the minor leagues. Look at this buckler. After 96-mile-an-hour curveball, you can't pull the trigger. He throws a changeup. Great command. I said this early on when he got called up. Look. What's he got? 3 swinging, 2 looking. 4 swinging. His delivery, which he's got this little lateral movement, the upside down W, will be a reason why. Look at the first pitch changeup. I mean, these are things that most of the time when you get to 28, 29, 30, if you've been in the league for 6 or 7 years, you lose your velocity. Some pitching coach says, hey, you know what? You better start not just using changeup all speed early because you have to. It's part of your repertoire. This guy's already done it.
One game I want to bring up, you mentioned veterans, and managers can make a difference, like Jim Leland, like hopefully Ozzie Guillen, but on your ball club that won the World Series, Dutch Dalton coming in, you told me one time that made a world of difference.
Darren Dalton, he was traded at the deadline. Dave Dombrowski got him. We were in Cincinnati. I think we lost the series. We fly to St. Louis. I'm with Dutch. My brother Mark was playing with him in Philadelphia. We lose the first game, and Darren, he's walking up the runway at Busch. He's like, dude, this is a country club here. He goes, who's going to say something? Now, he's a fiery guy. I said, Dutch, you say it. We had a lot of great players that year.
Strasburg.
Dang.
Sorry, buddy.
Halfway.
All right. Hey, thanks.
He was a big part of the reason why we won also.
Al, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Continued success.
Thanks.
We watch you almost every night.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thanks.
The great Al Leiter. More to come. Ah, look at that. Brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. And by All Year Cooling, today's comfort, yesterday's prices. A live look from the Goodyear Blimp high above Sun Life Stadium. Or pro player, or land shark, or Joe Robbie.
Dolphins, and Dolphin Stadium.
Chris Volstad on the hill, Pudge at the plate. Moving moment when Pudge came up to the plate for his first at bat. He got a prolonged standing ovation from the crowd, and he bangs one into right field for a base hit. Nationals have their first hit. Leadoff single by Pudge. Time now for the Keep Your Edge Spotlight, brought to you by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. So far for Chris Volstad, 4 innings, 4 strikeouts, 5 ground ball outs. He's given the Marlins the edge. You too can keep your edge with Just for Men Mustache and Beard.
Just like earlier this month, Volstad and Strasburg locking up in a
up the middle
game
by Bonifacio into center field. And Lombardozzi follows up with a single. So Pudge and Lombardozzi are aboard. With Strasburg coming up, obviously he's going to try to bunt him up.
Good solid swing by Lombardozzi. Good effort by Bonnie, just not there. Volstad got him to hit it on the ground, but he hit it hard and right back up the middle. Cole Porter in a little conversation with Strasburg. This is where a pitcher can really help himself, particularly in what looks like it's going to be a low-scoring game.
Greg Dobbs went in to talk to Volstad. Got Desmond and Bernardina around the bend. Strasburg bunts. Volstad. Dobbs was not at third. He had to creep a little further in than I think he wanted to, and thus the plays at first base. So now Volstad has to pitch out of a second and third, and 1 out spot. Ian Desmond is coming up.
Good job by Strasburg. He didn't bunt it down either line, but it was soft enough that Volstad had to charge in, and he really had only the one play. So Strasburg does his job, and we'll see if Volstad can pitch out of this in this scoreless ball game.
Here's Desmond. He's walked and reached on an error.
Washington's been playing good ball, 16-10 in the month of September.
And Desmond bangs it into center field. The base hit. Peterson got a good jump. Runner coming home. Throw is not in time. The Nationals have the first 2 of the ball game. Ian Desmond delivers a pair of runs. Lombardozzi got a good jump away from second. And it's 2-0.
Pitch tails in on the inside edge of the plate. Desmond does a good job pulling the hands in, getting the barrel of the bat on the ball. Solid base hit to center field. Not a bad throw by Peterson, but as you mentioned, Lombardozzi got a real good jump off of second base, and he runs well. So the Nationals grab a 2-0 lead.
Now Bernardina and Desmond might be running, and it might be very early in this at bat. Olstad goes over to first. If you're just getting home from work, just turning the TV on, the Marlins and the Nationals finishing off the 2011 season, closing this ballpark in terms of baseball. Chopper towards second. Infante gets an out there. Throw to first, gets an out there. And that finishes the 5th inning. Omar Infante getting a double play. But the Nationals getting their first 2 runs. Top of the Marlins. Fisher facing Steven Strasburg, and right now Strasburg is shutting him out. The buzz, the adrenaline, the energy, heck, the calendar. It's almost here. New Marlins Ballpark, state-of-the-art venue, unlike any other, with a retractable roof for air-conditioned comfort, all overlooking downtown Miami. It opens, of course, next spring. 1-877-411-2012 for tickets, or go to marlins.com. Javi Vasquez in the dugout. He got a nice ovation between innings. He came out, tipped his cap for the scoreless inning record that he set last night. And Omar Infante with a terrific double play. Our checkers double play of the ball game.
It's nicely done by Infante. Desmond claiming he missed the tag, but the umpire making the call. And as a runner there, you want to stop in the baseline and force that second baseman to chase you a little bit. So he can't make the throw to first in time for the double play, but Omar executed it very well. Rich, you guys talked about it last night with Infante signing the new 2-year deal, and what a constant. We talked to Ozzie Guillen about that. Just the safety of, it's kind of a safety net at second base. You put his name in the lineup. You don't worry about whether he's going to be ready to play or how he's going to play. It's a constant, and I think that's important for the Marlins going forward.
Well, as well, the reason he's here is because the Marlins wanted to upgrade their defense, and they certainly took a huge step in doing that with Infante at second base every day. It's a fastball for a strike. And Gabby Sanchez. Strasburg right now living at 60 pitches, and that's bad news for the Marlins. They would much rather have that pitch total up in the 80s or 90s and get him the heck out of here, because with the shadows and the daylight and all that, that makes it tough to see, let alone facing Steven Strasburg.
He struck out 5 of the last 6 hitters he's faced. Gabby's the only Marlin today with a base hit.
Gabby muscled one into left field. Strasburg in the sunshine, Gabby in the shadows. And he takes that 99-mile-an-hour heater high. One of the things Davey Johnson has done with Strasburg is say, look, we're not babying him. He's just like any other pitcher. He's gonna pitch just like everybody else. And I think for Strasburg, he likes hearing that. Gabby lines it down the right field line. That one may stay fair, and it just feels foul. And it's a foul ball. I mean, here's a guy in Strasburg that, not by his own doing, was treated with white gloves from the time they signed him from San Diego State to the time he got to the big leagues, even through his rehab.
Yeah, and you take a guy like that, number one, a guy with, as Leiter said, Hall of Fame type stuff. The last thing you want to do is use him too much early. So they did handle him with kid gloves. You get some debate from the old timers on whether that's the right way to go. Look at that, the original owner, H. Wayne Huizinga.
In the house.
Look at the time.
Had a chance to speak to him for our Inside the Marlins show this year on history of the franchise, and Gabby takes a nasty breaking ball for strike 3. We almost, not intentionally of course, we almost brought him to tears going back and talking about that. You could see the emotion in his face and the eyes welling up. And, you know, people have differing opinions about him as an owner, but you could tell that those were great memories for him and that he really did care about that ball club.
3 ownership groups, and the current owner, of course, Jeffrey Loria, the one that finally got a ballpark built. When they opened this place, Frank, it was a temporary home. I don't think anybody thought that the Marlins would be here for 19 seasons.
And just a nod, and Rich, I've been in South Florida since 1981. A nod on this day to the Robbie family. I know his son Tim pretty well through our soccer connections, but Joe Robbie had the vision and the foresight and found the way to build this stadium with his own money and the foresight to make it a multi-purpose facility. Is it an ideal baseball venue? No, it's not. But you could play baseball here. And it was that forward thinking that helped the Marlins get a franchise here.
0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Hey, thank you very much. I'm with the man who, without him, we may not have Major League Baseball here in South Florida.
That might be a good thing.
Wait, I don't know about that, Wayne Huizinga. I remember those. I think back, people ask me at the stadium, and I think about that. What a wonderful day this is for South Florida, quote, when you brought the team, when you announced the team, and all those moments. Are you reliving some of those tonight?
Oh, yeah. It's wonderful. That was a great time, fun time. You know, brought hockey at the same time.
At the same time.
So it was that was a fun year.
And for all the knock on this stadium, without it, you couldn't bring baseball as quickly as you did. You had a short time frame.
We didn't have any choice. I mean, football field's not the best stadium you want to be at, but it was better than not having it.
Right.
So that's where we came from. We said, hey, we'll make it work for a while.
You were just looking at the picture of '97, that great moment here, and I think when great Marlin fans think back, it relives it. It gives you chills.
It does. It does. You remember Carl Barger back in those days?
Absolutely. Number 5, the first retired number in Marlins history.
Yeah,
that was
really good. He was a great guy.
Boy, he was. And also the people that you put together for that '97 team, and to actually do it, to actually win it.
It was fun times. It really was. It's great.
As you look at the new ballpark, is this the
fabulous? Oh, I was down there the other day, and I mean, it's really nice. I'm really impressed, and I went down there not intending to buy a suite. I said, hell, I got to buy a suite. You know,
is that right?
Yeah.
Wayne, thanks for all your contributions and bringing so many fond memories for the baseball and hockey fans and Dolphin fans too.
Good to see you, guy.
Right, you too.
Nice to be with you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Craig. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to who would pull down the final number of the countdown, the ballpark here, and it looks like it's
Rich,
the entire Marlins
I was going to
team.
say, the answer is everybody.
And we thought, maybe it'd be a Marlin from years past. There's Jack McKeon, who's managing, we think, his final game. You never know. 85, 90, he might come back.
We thought he managed his final game back in 05.
And it looks like the whole team is coming out. Now, joining us in the booth right now is Cliff Floyd.
What's going on?
Good to have you back, buddy.
Thank you. Good.
What do you think about this moment?
You got to love it. I think Jack has done a fabulous job of getting the guys back on track a little bit and getting some respect around here. And I think it's a great tribute to him.
Yeah, and the whole team is coming out right now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
he's going to do the teardown, huh?
Yeah, they're all going out to do the teardown. It's been a cavalcade of stars that have done the teardown. And remember, it started 2 years ago. It's just amazing to look up on that fence and see the number 1 sitting there. And
Yeah.
it's finally here.
It's finally here. And you know what? So many memories in this ballpark. I mean, you know, I think it's a good day for everybody. I mean, with Ozzie coming, and you know, I think everybody is going to reap the benefits of this new ballpark, and you know, the players, the fans, everybody. So I think everybody's looking forward to it. You know, new uniforms, new name, so many, you know, new things to look forward to in 2012. That if you're a Marlins fan, or if you're not a Marlins fan, you have to be excited about something.
It's a great moment to hear. You saw all the cameras. Fans have their cameras out. Let's watch and listen now.
Here at Sun Life Stadium. All right, Jeffrey and staff, help us count down and tear that number down.
There it is.
Miami Marlins 11-11-11. And
this is the final game played at Sun Life Stadium.
A sweet moment. You got a team that has had to endure the final season in the ballpark, a manager who has won a world championship in the ballpark, and the owner that we just talked about and just visited with Mr. Huizenga, the owner that finally got a stadium built.
Yeah. You know what, and rightfully so. I think, you know, from a player standpoint, I talked about this earlier today, is, you know, from the dimensions to the elements, and I always hated the elements. I'm not a guy who actually particularly like playing in the heat, or, you know, looking out and seeing 434 in dead center and middle triangle. So, you know, I'm looking forward to this. I think, you know, some great things have happened in this stadium. But, you know, it's always good to change for the better, and I think that's what's going to happen here. The Marlins is changing for the better, and I think you started today, which is awesome, by bringing in some stability and bringing in Ozzie Guillen.
All right, Cliff, strap in. You're going to be here a while.
Okay.
We're going to take a timeout as the Marlins trail the Nationals on closing day. That last number is down.
En español vía Zap y es presentado por KFC.
Well, some familiar faces out there, out in the Legends Club. We'll be back out there shortly. Cliff Floyd is with us in the booth. Rich Waltz along with Frank Fort. And Joe and Cookie join us on this historic day. Hi, guys.
Hi, you doing,
How you
Richie?
guys doing?
Let's say hi to Cliff.
Cliff, how are you?
Good.
How you doing, Cook? Good.
Frank, how are you?
Good. Cookie, you were, of course, the third base coach on opening day. What kind of memories do you have on this final day here at Sun Life Stadium?
Well, it was great memories because, first of all, I was one of the 4 scouts that did all the draft for this organization. And I saw more than 500 players all over the minor leagues. I had all the National League East to the rookie clubs. So the first day that I can remember here, when this stadium was packed, almost 65,000 people. It was really awesome to be part of this organization, and and be there when they said play ball.
That's pretty sweet. And this has been a, I said it from the outset, today is a closing day, but it feels almost like an opening day with a new manager introduced before the ball game, a crowd like this, all the ceremonies going on.
It does feel that way. There's that kind of electricity in the air.
Nice play by Bonifacio, and Worth is out number 1.
I think one of the big reasons, Richard, is the fact, too, that Ozzie Guillen was named manager of the club for the next 4 years, and I think that brought a lot of enthusiasm to the fans. And I think that when they heard that, they started coming over here and says, we want to be part of this last year here in Sunlight and see Ozzie come in with great enthusiasm. We just had him here in the booth. Was nice enough to come over and talk to us for quite a bit. And you could see the excitement in his eyes. You can see he's ready to go to spring training, as a matter of fact, which I think is great for the organization.
You probably didn't have to ask too many questions. Just one, and away he went, right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, have a good show.
All right, enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
And thanks for a terrific year.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. Joe and Cookie, Raul, of course, on assignment. He's over going to watch the Rays and the Yankees tonight.
About that?
What a story that is.
Has that ever happened? Has there ever been 2 leagues with the wild card of both facing the...
No, not since the wild card era.
No, right?
Yeah, Cliff Floyd joining us now. There's a possibility of 2 one-game play-ins tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think, if the Rays win, I think they have the upper hand because they have that young kid who's throwing, Matt Moore, I think his name is. He's been phenomenal. Actually, only had 1 start, but throwing 95, 96 miles an hour against the Yankees in your first start is not too bad.
Cliff, you spent 5 years here, and when you were healthy, which was most of that time, you had 3 years of at least 90 runs batted in, 1 over 100.
Yeah.
You were part of that 97 team. What's your best memory of playing here?
Well, you know what? I look back on 97 and my fond memories is just watching these guys go about their business every single day. And to me, that was important. And people go, well, that's not a fond memory. But for me, it was in 97, to watch these superstars, evolve right in front of me. I mean, I'm watching Bobby Bowe and Chef and Devo and Moise Lou. And I actually remember getting traded here in 97 thinking, what the heck I'm going to play? Driving to spring training. But, you take so much from that. And I think that from 97 on, after that, for my career, it taught me so much about how to prepare to be a baseball player, how to go about my business, and the guys were great. That last at bat with Edgar Renteria off Charles Nagy seemed like forever, that ball going up the middle, because Charles Nagy filled his position sort of like Greg Maddux. He was pretty good at filling his position, and he hits the ball back, and for a split second you thought, dang, he caught it. You know what I mean? But when he missed it, I remember jumping up and bear hugging Jay Powell and thinking, man, this is it. This is what it's all about.
We just visited with Jay Powell.
Yeah.
By the way, Omar Infante is out of the game because of a left calf contusion. He fouled the ball off his leg back in the first inning. So Jose Lopez, as you saw, is into the game at second base.
And Chris Volstad is pitching pretty well. He's given up a couple of runs. He's working here in the 6th inning. And he gets strike 2 on Danny Espinosa.
Back in the 5th, by the way, I don't know if I've ever seen this, Rich. He faced 5 batters in the inning and threw only 5 pitches total.
Wow. That is a first for me.
Pretty good. 0-2 coming. And misses outside.
Cliff, because you were the young, you say, people don't think it's a great memory, but you were just a young guy then, and you were learning about what life in the big leagues was about.
Yeah, you know what, and you learn so much. I mean, my job was very simple. I pinch hit, spot started, and things like that, but it was a blast learning a lot from the guys.
See, you're learning quickly about this broadcasting stuff. 3rd out, he wraps up his story. Nice, neat, and clean. Way to go, Cliff! Georgie, Jorge Cantu. Cantu, a big part when the Marlins rebuilt in 2006. It breathed life into his career, and he is even back here today. He's out with Allison Williams.
Yes, good to see Jorge back here in South Florida. We were just chatting a little bit. It's kind of odd to be back, isn't it?
It is odd. It is odd. I was telling you earlier that driving down Ives Dairy, you know, you realize what you're missing, you know, and I actually miss this place for sure.
What is your most significant or your favorite memory from playing here at Sun Life?
You know what? I think the favorite memory was my first year in 2008 when we set that record on the infield, the four of us hitting 29-plus homers. Obviously, I was the only one with 29. But that was a very special moment, you know, when I did that. And it's just the way the fans, you know, accept us and everything and the way I give back to them. And it's always good to come back.
Did you get a chance to talk with some of your former teammates before the game at all?
You know what? I just got here like an hour ago, so I really want to catch up with everyone. You know, so hopefully down on the field where I do it. And it's just such a great honor to be here, to be honest with you, you know.
What is it bittersweet? Is that the right term? Because I know it wasn't the most ideal place to play baseball, but there are so many memories and so many special moments. So is it kind of bittersweet to say goodbye to the stadium?
It is because obviously, you know, we had great seasons here, me and my ex-teammates now and former teammates. But hey, I mean, when one door shuts, another one opens, and that's going to be open on the new stadium, you know, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art stadium for what I heard. And hey, don't get me wrong, I will not lie about it if I don't want to come back here next year, so you never know.
All right, and I love it because you've actually got a baseball for autographs.
I know, I'm going to sign everybody for all the legends, you know, Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. I want to get everybody to sign this ball for sure.
All right, Jorge, thank you so much. It's so good to see you. Rich?
One of our favorites, Jorge Cantu, Cliff Floyd joining us in the booth. Bonifacio bounces to first, and guys, it doesn't look like Bonnie's going to get to 300. He's 0 for 3 in this one.
But he's had a great year and really emerged.
Yeah, yes. All right, now let's do some freeze camming here. It's a verb, so to speak. Coors Light 6th inning freeze cam. Oh, yep, first pitch. Look at this. Charlie Huff, that was, as Frank said, more of a strike today than it was when this place opened.
Cliff playing in this place. By the way, have you had a chance to get down to the construction site at all, the new ballpark?
No, I actually haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going down on the 4th. This is like a private showing, and you know, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait literally to go to the ball game and sit out with my son and my family and not sweat.
Not be drenched.
Not be drenched in sweat. I don't mind sweating a little bit, but I don't want to be drenched. You know, so I'm looking forward to that. And I heard it's unbelievable, and I'm looking forward to that private showing that a couple of guys are getting, and you know, we'll go from there. But I'll tell you what, you know, you play here for so long, and you take things from this place. The only thing that, you know, that bothered you some days was, you know, it wasn't the heat. It was whether he's going to get the game in, you know, in 2 hours or 8 hours because of the, you know, because of the rain and stuff. So
some of the older Marlins had a chance to go down to this afternoon. That was a video you just saw.
Yeah, I missed that today. But you know, I'm looking forward to getting out there, and you know what, I'm gonna get an opportunity, hopefully, to get out there a lot, because here, like I said, if I didn't want to sweat a lot, I would come out here a lot more. But now I'm going over there. I'll go to many games.
And as I said to Ozzie, you guys spend probably more time at the ballpark in the season than you do at home. So the creature comforts and so forth. As Strasburg gets another strikeout, unfortunately, we're out of time in the inning.
All right, Cliff.
Always
I'm telling you,
Thank you.
You're good at this. You got a future in this, buddy.
Good
Cliff Floyd, one of the Marlin greats, back today. Making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, Rich, this is really the place to be. If you're a Marlins fan, super Marlins fan, this is where you want to just be a fly on the wall. You don't have to talk to anybody. You can just kind of listen in and walk. And that's what we're going to do. You can see our view. We're in the Hall of Champions. You see Benito Santiago over there. Just kind of a mingle environment. Vic, over here, you got Mark Wiley, our old pitching coach. Al Leiter is just out with you guys. Wayne Rosenthal, Pat Rapp, Vladimir Nunez is here. Lenny Harris, all time. Lenny Harris right over there. Let's just jump in on this. Hey, Lenny, we're live here. How much fun you having with these ex-mates?
Oh, I'm having a great time, man. Especially with Conan here, Kurt Abbott. I mean, this is awesome just to come and see the guys and. You know, Jeff, a warrior, Conan the Barbarian. I mean, look at this guy, man. This guy is ready to still fit and to go, but I love his golf tournaments. They're the best tournaments in Dayton.
Who looks the best?
He's a player.
Who looks the best out of all you guys?
Well, without a doubt. You know, it's all time, so I ain't going to get into that, right?
How about second best? Wait a minute.
Conan's really the best. You know, I got to give Conan the credit. He's the best.
Anybody that you put in like to see him, get in a little better shape category?
Well,
I don't want to throw anybody under
it's tough. It's tough to say right now because these guys are in shape, especially Kurt Abbott. He up there just arresting everybody down there where he's at. So it's kind of it doesn't matter. He's a police officer. Please be careful driving home, everybody, today because he will give you a ticket.
Get your designated drivers. All right.
Did everybody know that Jeff was on the cover of a CrossFit magazine? That was a text from a friend of mine.
we did not know that. All right, we're going to walk along here, guys. Just
digress. Yeah.
On that note, good seeing you. Take it away from us whenever you're ready. But I just want to kind of give you a sense of what's going on here. You have all eras here too of Marlins. We talked to Wayne Huizenga earlier. Don Smiley, the former president. Preston Wilson enjoying the chicken. And some of the great food up here. The families, too. That's what's changed about the old-time Marlins. The wives, young kids here. Saw Moises Alou on the right. And you always notice that look at that group over there. Pitchers get together. Is that Rob Nen and Kevin Brown, Jay Powell, talking about who had the best nasty slider in that group. Here's Alex Arias. And that's got to be Gary Sheffield. Right, that's Gary Sheffield. And, hey, Chef, we are live. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, buddy?
You look terrific. Hollywood has arrived finally.
Oh, stop, man.
How much fun is this for you, Gary?
That's good. I get to see the guys I haven't seen in years, and just to come back here at the last game, it's exciting for me.
Hey, you did the tour of the park today.
Yes, I did.
What do you think?
I'm impressed. I felt like I was in Arizona. That stadium there, you feel that outdoor, indoor, and it kind of cools the stadium down a little bit. Especially if it's open. It's been out here, it's extremely hot, but. That stadium is going to give everybody what they want.
If I know you, I think you'd want to take batting practice and gear it up again.
I was looking up there upper deck. I still think I can reach it.
Nobody would ever doubt. Chef, good to see you.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, Gary Sheffield, guys. And just all the guys enjoying themselves here in the Hall of Champions. Great spot. Back to you.
Anarchy has broken out. I didn't think Craig was going to get the mic back from Lenny Harris.
Lenny Harris should have his own talk show after listening to him. There's Ryan Webb, who has come on to take over for Chris Volstad. In a 2-0 game, the Marlins have just one hit against Steven Strasburg. The Nationals managed a couple of runs off of Chris Volstad. That came in the form of a 2-run single by Ian Desmond. Here's Lombardozzi, and he takes outside. Lombardozzi, whose father was a big leaguer, had a single in the 5th. He followed Pudge's base hit, and they both scored on that Desmond liner to center field. Webb flips up a sinker, and it's fouled out of play. It's the top of the 7th. This game has moved quickly. Our telecast has moved quickly. And by the way, just a tip of the cap to the men and women who have worked all year on Marlins telecasts on Fox Sports Florida. John Sulzer is our producer. Jim Hawley is our rock star director. Ground ball out to short. Bonifacio flips it to first in time. Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. That's just the tip of the iceberg. The real working men and women are the other folks. Peter A. Montalbano in the world's most dangerous tape room. There it is, Sun Life Stadium. As the Marlins and the Nationals, you can see the shadows have crept all the way out into the outfield. That's too bad for the Fish because they would have liked to have had that, Frank, when Steven Strasburg was on the mound. He was dominating in 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, and the Marlins in a 2-0 hole going to the bottom of the 7th.
Allowed just 1 hit, 2 walks. First batters he's walked this season. In his 5th start, Ryan Matthews will come in relief. Volstad threw 79 pitches, 55 for strikes. Strasburg threw 79 pitches, 54 for strikes. The only hits Volstad gave up, and he gave up 3 of them, all, however, were bunched together in the Nationals' 5th inning when they get their 2 runs.
We'll see if the Marlins can get some offense generated against Matthews. It's Greg Dobbs, Mike Stanton, and Logan Morrison. For the Fish in the bottom of the 7th. Haven't seen an attendance number yet, but it looks like a very healthy crowd here for closing day. And it looks like it continues to grow as people come in, I'm sure, to see the closing ceremonies. It was a stirring number tear down. The entire 2011 Marlins team went out to tear down the number, and Jack McKeon got to do the honors.
Jack McKeon and Jeffrey Loria with the teardown, all the players surrounding him. And Rich, as I look out in the crowd in a nod to a bit of nostalgia, see a lot of the original teal hats in the crowd as fans paying tribute to those 19 years, the first couple of which featured those teal hats.
1-2 to Dobbs. And Pudge holds it. That's the 11th strikeout for the National staff. Our Toyota trend, there's the teal that you talked about, Frank. Sun Life Stadium from 93 to now 385 players have appeared in a Marlins uniform. 203 have had at least 1 hit. And here is Mike Stanton. Stanton has walked and has struck out. Marlins down 2-0. And Stanton hits a high chopper. Lombardozzi has it, and he fires across.
Marlins have just 1 hit today, Rich, and they came into the game with a team average of 247. The club record low is 248 for a season, and they're not doing anything right now to get over that hump.
Well, for the Fish, offense, it's amazing how you go from one year to the next trying to fix one part of your team. The Marlins wanted to get better defensively and better in the bullpen, and they accomplished
which they did.
Both of those, especially defensively. But Hanley Ramirez not having a Hanley Ramirez season and not having him around for the second half of the season took a big bite out of the Marlins offense. And of course, the Fish traded some offense for defense in the Dan Uggla trade to Atlanta, with Omar Infante coming over and providing the great defense at second.
The 1993 and 98 teams had a 248 team average. And as I said, the Marlins coming into today at 247, but could not solve Steven Strasburg, who was absolutely filthy today.
Yes, he was. Well, you combine Strasburg's stuff with having to hit in the shadows, that's not a pretty sight for a hitter. Matthews has fallen behind Morrison now, 3-0. We'll have another special guest coming up next inning when we get to the 8th. Gabby Sanchez is hoping to get to the plate here in the bottom of the 7th. 3-0 coming. That's right down the middle. Morrison, 23 homers after hitting just 2 all of last season. 25 doubles. And he walks.
And Rich, that's the good news. The power numbers are up for Lomo. The bad news is he hasn't hit with runners in scoring position this season.
Frank, I know we're supposed to wait till next inning, but I can't let this guy sit here without asking him a question. A Marlin great joins us now. Moises Alou is with us. How are you?
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's a special day for Marlins from all generations, but from your class, so to speak, your year, it's probably good to see all the fellas.
Very good. The first time that Bill Beck called me, I jumped at the opportunity to be here and get a chance to see my ex-teammates, my friends from '97, and we act like it was yesterday that we saw each other. So we had a great team. As a matter of fact, I was telling a couple other wives out there that's why we won, because we were like a family.
Yeah. Moises, what set that team apart in your mind? What made them, other than obviously good baseball ability, was there something else that set that team apart from others you played on?
When you have a bunch of players coming in from different teams, it takes a while for everything to click. And for the Marlins, it did. But I think around June, July, we were like, you used to see guys going out to dinner together, guys going out together, more guys in June, more guys in July, and
right center, and it's going to fall between Worth and Ankiel. Here comes Morrison, and the Marlins are on the board. In the sun, Rick Ankiel and Jason Worth looked at the ball and then looked at each other and then looked at a double.
Yeah, just simply a matter of not communicating well enough or being unable to communicate. I'm not sure if Ankiel lost that ball for a moment, as we'll take another look at it.
Now, Moises, on our Gunther drive of the game, you could tell us about playing in the sun out in this place. It's not easy, is it?
It's not easy. And I played right field here a couple of games in '97, and I played some when I came here as a visiting player. It's not easy. And as a matter of fact, it looked like both of those guys, they were hoping one of those guys were going to call for the ball.
So Gabby gets a gift RBI double, and the Marlins are on the board for the first time today. Only their second hit, and both of them by Gabby.
Well, a much-needed run. Here comes Peterson now. And the Nationals bullpen starts to stir. Remember, Peterson ended the game last night against a lefty with a walk-off home run.
Moises, that series ender with Edgar delivers the hit, and we're going to have a David Johnson who's going to make his way to the mound, and we'll have the pitching change. We'll talk more with Moises when we get back, but the Marlins are on the board here in the seventh inning.
Yeah, Sean Burnett, Wellington native, is going to come in and pitch it. 2-1 ball game here. Moises Alou when we return.
You need a car, truck, or van.
The Goodyear Blimp has been with us all day. Some great names and faces have been with us all day. Moises Alou joins us. Now, we've had some of your mates from the '97 World Championship team. Al Leiter was a guy that said Darren Dalton was a big piece. Have you seen Dutch today, and is that true?
That's true. As a matter of fact, I was going to say that myself. We saw, I saw him last night, I saw him today. He's here, and it was great to see him. When he first came to the team, he had a team meeting, players meeting in Cincinnati. A guy that was only, I think it was his second day with the team, had a team meeting and say, He said, "Come on, guy, let's go. This thing is here's like a country club. You have the masseuse, you have everything, but I don't see the result like it should be." So he was an inspiration for everybody, and the fact to see him sitting down after every game with 8 bags of ice on both of his knees, I mean, that made you play harder.
Let's touch on the left, of course. And Moises, what I started to say before the pitching change was made, that when Edgar delivers a base hit, Counsell comes home. That moment almost freezes in time. You almost wonder how to react in a situation like that. Good play by Desmond, but he won't get anybody. Infield hit. When a World Series ends, you dream of that moment, but do you really know how to react until you're in that moment?
I remember I went to the clubhouse because we weren't scoring when I was in the dugout, so I went to the clubhouse to get a drink or something, and we got somebody on base, so I said, let me stay here so we can maybe get some runs. And when Edgar delivered that hit, I just remember my spikes and the cement sparkle coming off my spikes, and I'm trying to get to the field and jump on everybody. That moment is the highlight of my career.
Brett Hayes is going to hit against Burnett. The Marlins have runners at the corners. It's a 1-run game now. And Burnett misses down low. So Davey Johnson got the lefty-lefty matchup he wanted. Peterson has delivered 2 big hits against lefties. Last night's game winner and the base hit here. And now it's Hayes against the lefty, with a large crowd who has enjoyed themselves immensely with everything that has gone on, starting to get into this ball game. That's a strike to Hayes, although Hayes, I don't think, was too happy with the call. It's 1-1.
Moises, in that '97 World Series, you had such a great series. Was there one moment for you, other than the end of that series, when you know you're a winner, that stood out for you?
I hate to speak about what I did in the series, but I remember when I hit the home run of Hershiser in Cleveland. That was it was snowing earlier in the game, and I remember he threw a pitch close to me, and it kind of upset me a little bit. And for me to hit a home run off him to tie the game or to go ahead, I don't remember very well. That was one of the greatest moments of that series.
You guys beat Hershiser twice in that series. Hayes down the left field line, and that one's going to peel foul and get into the bullpen.
That was sort of like, if we can go to the other World Series moment in '03, when Roger Clemens dusted Miguel Cabrera and Miggy got up and hit a home run. So very similar in the 2 Marlins World Series.
Yep. I guess a Latin pride, huh?
1-2 to Brett Hayes as the Marlins and Nationals shut the door on Sun Life Stadium. Gabby Sanchez is at third base. Brian Peterson across the diamond at first. And Burnett is 1-2 on Hayes. Fastball in. 2-2.
Moises, any quick thought on the hiring of Ozzie Guillen?
I think this is a perfect situation for both teams, for both the team and Ozzie. I'm sure Ozzie being from Venezuela, Ozzie being here and before. This is like the same thing that happened to me in '97 when they were signing all these free agents, and I was getting scared because I thought they were going to run out of spaces or money to sign me, because I wanted to be here, because I live an hour and 45 minutes away in the Dominican. I wanted to be part of this team, and I'm sure it's the same feeling for Ozzie. He wants to be in Miami, where there's a lot of Venezuelan. He's close to Venezuela, and also the team moving to a new stadium, and I'm sure they're going to have a better team.
Breaking ball, a soft little ground ball out towards second, and a flip to first in time by Espinoza. Moises, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming back and being part of this day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good to see you again.
A world champion, a great major leaguer. Moises, salute. the 8th inning. We've been counting down the track staff's top 10 moments at Sun Life Stadium. As we head to the new ballpark, there's a look at them, and we've got number 1 coming up. Baseball coming to South Florida was last night. Gonzo's walk-off World Series homer against the Yankees. I think we all know what's coming, Frank, for it.
Yeah, I think so, too. It's pretty obvious.
But still, it'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely.
And, of course, afterwards, the monster rollout, the mother of all rollouts. If you are a Marlins fan now, were a Marlins fan, or have lived in South Florida and have come to some baseball games, it's a 9-minute music montage with faces, highlights, calls from different announcers over the 19 seasons, and that is coming up on Marlins Live. So,
and I believe that's a Levon extravaganza in the world's most dangerous tape room.
Yes, it is.
And Pete Montalbano. Can't leave my boy Petey out.
Ralph Marquez is pretty good, too.
We have such a great crew.
Alex Cora takes outside. You know, the press conference today was live at 1 o'clock, so the crew had to jump into action and get the cameras in there. We covered it live. Hope you had a chance to watch it. Lasted about 45, 50 minutes.
And one thing we haven't talked about, Rich, is Tyler Clippard's up in the Washington bullpen with Alex Cora at the plate. Ozzie Guillen, if you didn't see the press conference, says that he wants to bring Joey Cora from his staff in Chicago here to South Florida. Randy St. Clair will return as the pitching coach, and he also wants to keep Eduardo Perez on his staff as well.
And he said that the other members of the coaching staff, he still has yet to meet them and talk with them. He's only been here less than 24 hours, and so he said a decision on the entire coaching staff won't be made for a while. But Joey Cora has been by his side in Chicago, Alex's older brother. And Alex bangs one into right center field, hits it deep. Stanton in full run, then he dives and won't get it. To the wall it goes, and Cora's on his way to third, and the former Hurricane has himself a nice moment. Probably took a look at that U sitting out there in shallow right center field on his way around second.
Good effort by Stanton. Full extension, just can't get there. Cora hit it well off Webb. Mike loses the glove on the way down. That's a terrific effort by Mike. Cora had enough juice, and once it gets past Stanton, it's an easy triple for Cora. So the Marlins will have to bring the infield in, try to choke off the run with Desmond up at the top of the order. First triple this season for Alex Cora.
Desmond drove in the 2 runs the Nationals have back in the 5th. Swings through a breaking ball. Edward Mujica warming up in the Marlins pen. Remember, Lopez is now at second base in place of Infante, who fouled the pitch off of his calf. Webb out in front quickly, 0-2. A little later on tonight, Boston in Baltimore. John Lester on the mound for Boston. The Rays have David Price going against to be announced for the Yankees. That game starts at 7 o'clock. Atlanta and Philadelphia with Joe Blanton against Tim Hudson. So the Braves have their ace going, no doubt about it, with Tim Hudson. Cardinals, though, have Chris Carpenter on the road. They do run into Brett Myers, who at any time is liable to stick it in your ear. And it's the Cardinals and the Astros, the Phillies and the Braves, with the Braves and the Cardinals in a dead tie on the last day of the season.
And of course, Atlanta and Boston both have blown big leads in that wild card race as Webb gets Desmond.
Big strikeout for Webb. Here comes Bernardino. Now in the American League, you got Boston and Tampa Bay, and you could have conceivably 2 play-in games tomorrow.
And Tampa, they've made the big push late. They'll have David Price going tonight, who's had an up-and-down year for Tampa. Certainly has the potential to throw a great game at any point.
Webb throws a strike.
Webb, of course, coming over in the trade with Mujica, San Diego, to try and upgrade the bullpen. He's had a little bit of a roller coaster year. Control at times has been an issue, but he does have good stuff. You see the run that he gets on that two-seamer.
Bernardina ground ball by Lopez into right field, and the Nationals have stretched their lead. It's 3-1, and a good back of the bullpen with Clippard and Storen waiting for Davey Johnson. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear all season long. Goodyear has been with us, and here tonight on closing day, appropriate that it's flying high above Sun Life Stadium.
Can't wait till next season when it's flying high above the new ballpark.
Bernardina's at first base. He can run. And here's Worth. He is running. Hayes' throw on the money. Got him.
A terrific throw by Hayes. I thought Bernardina had a pretty good jump off Ryan Webb, and Brett's catch and release very quick, and the throw on the money to second base. Look how quickly he gets rid of this ball, and that's perfect, and just does get him at second base. Tag applied by Lopez, so Brett Hayes cuts down the base runner. Nicely done.
2 outs now. 0-1 coming to Worth. So that's it's an incredible night in baseball tonight. When you've got 2 dead heats, the possibility of 2 more games of the regular season tomorrow.
Because the division races were over last Friday. Attendance today, by the way, 34,615. So a nice showing by Marlin fans here on closing day in the final game at Sun Life Stadium.
Especially for a 4 o'clock Wednesday start.
No question. And you know, we talked about it a little bit earlier with one of our guests. You know, when the Marlins first came online, and yeah, there's a curiosity factor having Major League Baseball for the first time, but even if you go into the World Series years, this ballpark, they drew on a lot of people. They drew 3 million the first year and was packed for the World Series.
Bonifacio throws out Worth to the bottom of the 8th. Expect to see Mr. Clippard. 3-1 Nats. Stadium for the Marlins. This is not one of the top 10, but it's a special bonus moment from last night. Peterson, right field, get out of here, let's go home, walk-off shot, Javi gets a win, here comes the bullpen, second career homer for Brian Peterson, yeah! That a nice moment last night for a lot of reasons. as Tyler Clippard does come in. He's going to face Donnie Murphy. There are Clippard's numbers. He's been spectacular this year. Back of the bullpen for the Nationals has been very good with Drew Storen, their closer. And Murphy stands in. Murphy, then Bonifacio, and then Lopez. Slow roller to third. Lombardozzi makes the play. You had Peterson walking off to get the win, but just to get the win for Javi Vasquez on what might have been his final start of his career was special.
And that's what Peterson said to the media after the game. He was more happy that he could do that and get Javi a win because he pitched so well, and he's pitched so well in the second half of the season that if indeed it is his last game, he wanted to send him out a winner.
Now, during the press conference today, Ozzie Guillen was asked, would you like to have Javi Vasquez on the team? And he said, absolutely, especially the way he's throwing right now.
You look at the way he's throwing right now, he's been as good as any starter in baseball over the last 2 months.
But Ozzie said what we all know and everybody else knows, that's not up to Ozzie, it's up to Javi Vasquez, because Vasquez said that he will determine whether he's going to retire once the season is over, maybe a month or two away from today. Bonifacio fouls it off. If you've just happened by and you're wondering how's Bonifacio's quest for 300 going, he had to face Steven Strasburg, and many of the Marlins struggled against Strasburg. Number one, Strasburg had great stuff. Number two, with shadows over the plate and sunlight on the mound, it's been a tough day for the hitters. Strasburg struck out 10 in 6 innings, including Bonifacio twice. He's 0 for 3. And so 300 is going to be out of his reach unless we play 20 innings. And I don't see that happening.
No. But it does not diminish what Bonifacio has accomplished this year. Arguably the Marlins MVP, the local chapter of the Baseball Writers Association voted Stanton as the MVP, and certainly you can see that. But when you look at what Bonifacio's done this season, he had the long hitting streak. He's hitting in the 290s, the on base up around 350, tied for second in the National League in stolen bases, and playing 6 different positions for the Marlins, and all of them well defensively. You can certainly make the case that he's been the Marlins MVP this season.
To me, a more impressive number than his batting average is the on-base percentage, which was 363 starting play tonight, and that's in over 560 at bats. So for Bonifacio, that's an enormous step forward to being a productive player. But today, not a good day, as he punches out, and he is 0 for 4. There are 2 outs here in the 8th. He's hitting 296 right now, which is nothing to sneeze at.
And if you said before the year Bonifacio is going to get that many at-bats, he's going to hit 296 with an on-base about 360, you'd say, let's go. We're good with that.
Well, you'd also say, well, now he, instead of a super utility guy, he could find a spot, an everyday spot in the lineup. And he could do, I mean, here's Lopez in the first pitch from Clippard. Lopez to left, didn't get much of it, and Bernardino makes the catch. Actually, Bonifacio could probably do both those things. He can probably still be a super utility and still be an everyday player, as he kind of has done that this year. 3-1 Nationals. Of the first manager of the Miami Marlins. Ozzie Guillen met the press. Larry Beinfest, Jeffrey Loria, David Sampson were there. 11th Marlins manager, of course, 8 years with the White Sox, 2 postseasons. 2005, his second year. Not only was he the manager of the year, but more importantly, his ball club swept the World Series from the Houston Astros and won the World Championship with a brilliant starting staff.
And, of course, the Marlins' third base coach when they won it all in 2003. Almost 2,000 Major League games with 4 teams, 264 lifetime average, signed out of Venezuela by the Padres as a free agent. A 4-year contract for Ozzie Guillen, and his opening press conference, boy, was it entertaining. You and I were there covering it live, and already they've got the Ozzie signs. Got to like those fans being right on top of it. But my favorite part, Rich, was when he was talking about in Chicago when he were contemplating his future, and he said, it's like preparing for a hurricane. You got to be ready for everything from Category 1 to Category 5. I was ready to stay with the White Sox. I was ready to come here. I was ready to go to another major league town. The analogy of Ozzie and a hurricane seems somewhat appropriate.
Here is Steve Cishek. If you missed the press conference and you want to see what a Category 5 manager is like, you can on FoxSportsFlorida.com. FoxSportsFlorida.com has the entire press conference. And we have all the closing ceremonies coming up after this ball game. Steve Cishek is in for the Fish. Cishek gets Chris Marrero, Danny Espinosa, and Rick Ankiel. In the 9th, the Marlins down 3-1.
Cishek voted the Marlins Rookie of the Year by the baseball writers. And as I mentioned earlier, I should have mentioned Cishek. The best stories on the Marlins this year, Bonifacio, Dobbs, and the emergence of Steve Cishek as a bona fide major league reliever.
Writers voted Mike Stanton as the most valuable player. Chopper, Dobbs, got him. He stayed with it.
Yeah, tough hop. And Dobbs never gave up on it. Good job defensively. That's kind of a do-or-die play, but the ball was close enough that he was able to make the throw just in time. Good stretch by Gabby and got him. Rather, it was close, but it wasn't that close.
Well, in Foxmo, it's not close because it's Foxball. But if you're Mike Winters and you don't have thousands of frames per second, you get just one look at it. That's not an easy call, and he made the right call. Here's Espinosa. He takes a strike. Baseball's postseason set to begin this weekend with the American League Series on Friday, the National League Series on Saturday. One foul back. The ALCS and the World Series will be on Fox. There's Drew Storen.
Espinosa's emergence this year has been a big part of the Nationals, getting close to the 500 mark, tied with the National League Rookie League with Freddie Freeman.
0-2, a swing and a miss. Down goes Espinosa. Ankiel coming up.
Cishek's been better than a strikeout an inning. And this is his first extended stay in the big leagues. He had a veritable cup of coffee last September, but you see his emergence, and he's a viable option in the back of the bullpen. He did close a couple games, has 3 saves, and you wonder going forward with the Leo Nunez / Juan Carlos Oviedo situation, what the back end of the Marlins bullpen is going to look like last year. And Cishek, certainly I think at this point, not knowing what's going to happen in the offseason, has to be considered in that mix.
I saw a note that Nunez
/ Juan Carlos
will not face any jail time, and the meat of the punishment is going out to the person, I don't know if it was a Buscone or a go-between that provided the illegal documentation for him when he was just 17 years old.
And that was part of the deal with the prosecutors in the Dominican Republic, that if he identified those who broke the law and provided the false identification, that he would not be prosecuted. So from that standpoint, obviously that's good, because if he did face charges, then you wonder about him being granted a work visa to get back in the country.
I think the bottom line of that situation is we've been around Leo Nunez now for, 3 seasons? Good guy.
Yeah, great
and
guy.
not a bad kid. And so you're glad to see it resolved.
And certainly not the only case.
No.
Over the last however many years. As recently as 2009, I believe Major League Baseball looked into some 42 cases.
Miguel Tejada. There's a long line of guys
who falsified either their ages or their names.
(3-2). And Guillen to center. Peterson out there makes the catch. The Marlins down to their final 3 outs of 2011. 3-1. South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-Marooney. And by Checkers, Feast On. Over 34,000 here to close Sun Life Stadium for baseball. Obviously, it will go back to being a football stadium, which is essentially what it is. And the Marlins need a couple of runs to keep playing here in 2011. Drew Storen doesn't give up many runs. You can see a nice ERA at 2.78. He's had an all-star season, 73rd appearance. Marlins have seen an awful lot of this right-hander out of Stanford.
Just the second closer in Nationals history to reach the 40-save plateau. The other being Chad Cordero. He of the flat bill hat.
Greg Dobbs, Mike Stanton, Logan Morrison as the Marlins try to muster one last rally here in 2011. And the crowd all staying around for the closing day ceremonies. We will carry all of it live and also have our monster rollout, as we've been advertising, on the postgame show. That's going to be out number 1. Marrero steps on the bag. So Storen throws a pitch, gets an out. Mike Stanton now comes up. Hall of Famer Dave Van Horn will be down on the field. He is the master of ceremonies for the closing day festivities. The all-time Marlins team will be named. They will play the all-time top 10 moments. It'll be interesting to see how the crack staff matches up.
Exactly. A little side by side, see if our choices match up with those voted on by the fans. Rich, today, just focusing on this game for just a moment, been kind of a microcosm of the Marlins season. The Marlins have been limited to 3 hits, just 1 run, and if that holds, be the 38th game this year they've scored 1 run or less. And they are going to set a club record for lowest team batting average in the season.
Ozzie Guillen said in his press conference the biggest piece of the puzzle for next year is Hanley Ramirez. And I can remember what Jeff Conine said earlier this year when he was on one of the telecasts, how the biggest contribution that Ozzie may have made to the 02-03 teams was his work with Alex Gonzalez, who was a very talented shortstop, but not a very disciplined shortstop. And after working with Ozzie for a couple of years, turned himself into a very polished pro.
Stanton down on strikes. He'll finish the year with 34 homers and 87 batted in. Good first full season in the majors. And keep in mind, still just 21 and still learning things about himself as a hitter, learning about the pitcher. So hopefully Mike can build on that next year as well.
Crowd coming to their feet as Morrison stands in what could be the final at bat in this stadium. And a strike to Lomo. Not if Morrison can help it. He walked in the 7th, struck out in the 4th, and has bounced into a double play. Good to see the fans out here for this one. A lot of the throwback caps and jerseys. 0-2.
Rich, I remember being here on opening day of 1993, and it was quite a scene. It was something that was part of my career that I won't forget. Also because my son had his tonsils out that day. It's funny how you remember things.
I missed that in the box score.
Yeah.
Here's the 0-2 coming to Morrison. Check swing. And he didn't go. Counts 1-2. Storen has been flipping that slider up since getting out in front of Morrison.
And you remember the Yankees used to train in Fort Lauderdale. The Orioles used to train at Miami Stadium for spring training. So we were around Major League Baseball here in South Florida. But to have a team of our own, so to speak, that was almost indescribable at that point.
Struck him out. The ball game is over. The season is over. And baseball as we know it for the Florida Marlins is over. It's on to a new ballpark. It's on to a new name. And it's on to next year. But of course, all the closing ceremonies we will cover from start to finish. That's all coming up. 3-1 the final. Nationals winner.